Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Carlo of 4GQ TV, and we have a very special episode again for everyone that's watching. You can find us at the bottom link below or the Marvel Cinematic Facebook group. And with me today is Paris from that group. What's going on, man?
Hey Carlo, how's it going, man? This is fun. I cannot wait to see what we got going here. Let's go ahead and share what we're gonna play for everybody.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Real quick for everybody that's about to watch this, Anthony Francisco, who is a visual concept artist for Marvel and does a lot behind the scenes, sent us a video that we can show on this channel for you guys to watch. And that is what we're about to play. And let us know what you think about this video after you watch it. See you guys in a minute.
Now, whatever you do, don't push this button. I'm Groot. No!
Reference is not just a visual, it's a feeling. When I create these characters, I draw from personal experiences. There was a time when things weren't so good in the Philippines. Walking to school with some friends, we saw a dead body and it was very traumatic. The comic book became my outlet to see the world being saved by heroes. Charlie Wen, he got me in for Guardians of the Galaxy to do Aliens. And from there, my first main character that I got to work on was Baby Groot. When James Gunn came to me, he wanted a really cute character, but to get me through into Baby Groot, I was heavily influenced by my kids. While I was designing Baby Groot, my kids were a big influence. The other characters I've worked on is Loki for Thor Ragnarok, Hulk from Thor Ragnarok, Doctor Strange. In Infinity War, I did a lot of kind of cool stuff on that too, which I can't talk about. I also do keyframe art to help the director visualize the scene, from the lighting to the feel. So for example, Ant-Man, we wanted to show how the miniature world would look like. It's a crazy feeling that my designs are up on a big screen and it's iconic now. Everyone's like cosplaying it. And I would have never dreamt that my designs could be that influential. And to top it off, to be part of the team that created Black Panther, the biggest superhero film of all time, and I feel so fortunate. I created Okoye, the general of the Dora Milaje, and Nakia's costume, which ended up being the Dora Milaje costume. And in the Philippines, we have a lot of warriors there, people fighting against colonialism. So the first thing that came to my mind from my inspiration was the Igorots, the Ifugao. Remembering the Igorot having the little sash that comes down and how that's built helped me design the costume for the Dora Milaje. The flexibility and the freedom to create is why I love art. Everyone's creative in their own way, and they have a lens that they see things and translate things. I hope I really get to inspire people and get to inspire people from the Philippines, because that's where I came from. And to know that no matter where you are in life, if you just focus and work hard, you will get to where you want to go.
Whoa, Anthony is with us? I can't believe this.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome. Welcome.
Oh, Anthony, I'm so impressed by a lot of the stuff that I've seen out there on your channel already. But, we always want to know a little bit about how you got where you are and a little bit about yourself. Can you tell us about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I could tell you a little bit. It's a long story, but I'll try to make it short and hopefully, get the right story out there to help inspire people and see where I came from. Um, but I grew up in the Philippines and I came here around, I think I was almost 18 at that time.
Mhm.
Um, and I almost didn't get to make it here because there's like a cutoff age. So yeah, it was kind of close, but I kind
Oh
of,
my gosh.
yeah, it was made me worried a little bit. But yeah, but I was, I already I graduated high school a little bit early, so I was kind of in college already in the Philippines when I was like 16,
Oh
or
wow.
so. And then we had to uproot everything. I had a girlfriend at that time too, and everything was so sad. I just wish my parents told me it's okay. You could just save money, buy a ticket, and you could go back to the Philippines and visit them again. But that time it just felt like that was done. I could never go back. Isn't
Right.
that weird sometimes? Like your parents don't just tell you that it's okay to fail later on in your life you could go back so you're not like bawling your eyes off in the plane. So embarrassing, but I think I still have that emotional. I think the older I get, I'm even more emotional even when I think about the stuff I went through.
Right.
um it was kind of difficult a little bit to try to be an artist because most of the time art doesn't make any money, or why are you drawing monsters? Where's that gonna land you? Why don't you draw pretty pictures instead? Because my grandma would be saying stuff like that because they
Mhm.
don't know where it would go. But that's actually what got me the job in the industry is my monsters. So I started off as a creature designer.
Mhm.
um, I worked for this company called ADI, Amalgamated Dynamics Incorporated. So they did these Starship Troopers. They did the big bugs for Starship Troopers,
Mhm.
Alien versus Predator, Aliens. I actually had the chance to work on Alien versus Predator for a little bit, like 2 weeks.
Oh
Um,
nice.
yeah, they gave me Alec Gillis gave me a chance. When I was starting out. I don't know if you want to hear that how that happened, how I got that job. It was it was so I was going to school as a creature designer. Actually, sorry, I was going to school in this place called Associates in Art, and
Mhm.
mostly drawing stuff. And I was passing by this one room where I saw a sculptor that works in the special effects industry create this sculpture in 2 hours of this like troll. It's like, wow, that's amazing. And how you work in the industry, how do I do this? And that's when I finally found out, oh, there's such people as creature designers. And then I started building my portfolio of just monsters, and it started making more sense. Star Wars had it, right? All these aliens, someone must have designed it.
Right.
um, but if no one knows, like my parents didn't know about that stuff, so they couldn't even guide me. Everything
Right.
was new back then.
Yeah.
So I was in this teacher's open house because he started, to his name's Jordu. He
Mhm.
started his own school, and I was there with a friend, and we're not trying to mingle. I was still not so brave in just putting myself out there, but my friend is, and he's a pretty big guy. He he was introduced first to Alec, and I was just behind him. It's like, this is kind of scary. Should I go? And I'll never forget this. When he saw me on the corner, he was like, "Hey, are you an artist too?" He just like was able to tell I wanted to talk, but I couldn't, so he made it more comfortable for me. And ever since that time, I said to myself, I will always do what he did for me and try to pay it forward to other students. When I used to teach, I'd try to get to everyone, so
Mhm.
even the shy ones will have a chance to talk to me. And it's just it's hard sometimes when you're afraid and you don't push yourself to put yourself in a place of opportunity, right?
Right.
and you just take yourself out. You don't even try. This is the hardest part. This is what most artists.
Yeah, a lot of people have that fear of being vulnerable, right? And it's, you know, it's something you're uncomfortable, right? And you just don't know how it's going to turn out, right? So yeah, I could totally understand that.
And when I see that, I go, oh man, it's I was there before. So
Yeah.
so when he saw me, he's like, you have something? I go, oh, I don't have in my mind. I don't have a portfolio yet. And I think my friend was the one that said, yeah, your portfolio is an art center, right? Like being looked at. And it wasn't, but it's like, okay, yes, I do have a portfolio, blah, 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 and this and that. And it's like, oh, see me in 2 weeks, when you have more time with this. And in that whole 2 weeks, I kept drawing every day, filling up my portfolio, right? Um, but I didn't hear any phone call. It's like for a while. And I was thinking, are they going to call me back? Oh, I suck. They don't like my work. And then I caught myself, they don't like my work. They haven't even seen it. So it's almost like, your false narrative you tell yourself. Luckily, I was able to get over that and just say, let me just call them up and see what gives, why is this happening? And then I called them up and, sure enough, they were just busy and he rescheduled and I was able to go there finally and show my portfolio of like 20 pages, but in this nice kind of portfolio case. But since I was cleaning everything up, when he was looking through it, clean up meaning my drawings were just kind of average feeling because I was being safe with my designs. So he looked like he was unimpressed, kind of looking through it, and I was getting worried. But he still gave me another chance. Says, did you bring your sketchbook with you? Luckily, I brought both of my sketchbooks. And in those sketchbooks are all my ideas, notes, and different shapes and all this stuff. And you'd think they wouldn't want to see that, but he really had importance in design. And I didn't know I was really a designer back then until he looked at it. And then he was saying, you're good at designing. And do you believe in reference? For some reason, that question came out. And I said, yes, of course, I need reference so I could get ideas and inspiration. And I always look to nature, So he loved it. He loved my sketchbooks. That's what got me the job. And then he hired me like for the next week. And that's the beginning of my career. Yeah.
Nice. So you moved from the Philippines and then you're here, you get an opportunity.
Yeah. Well, no, the opportunity happened way after the Philippines.
Way after?
I came to the Philippines, I still had to go. Actually, it was in the Navy for a couple of years. Worst experience.
Hey, I was in the Navy too, bro. So
you were, 2 years. Where were you? Where did you go?
I was stationed in Japan.
And cooler than me. I was in Chesapeake Bay. Is that what it's called? Norfolk. I was in
Norfolk. Oh, okay. You're in Norfolk.
Yeah.
Oh, all right.
They did everything the opposite. I asked to be on the West Coast. They put me on the East Coast. I asked to be with my buddy. They separated us. I asked to be on land. They put me on the ship. It's like, what's going on?
And then you go to Norfolk. Wow, you're East Coast. Yeah, I was like, I gotta be West Coast. And they're like, okay. Well, technically, Japan is far east, but it's as west as you can. So.
They like to do that, but man, that's so awesome. You're in Japan. How long were you there?
I was in Japan for 2 years, but I got to travel all around there. I was in, was able to see Korea, well, South Korea, Singapore, Thailand.
Man, that's so cool.
All sorts of other parts of Japan. So all different ports in Japan in the area. So it was pretty cool. Just being able to travel and all that stuff. Yeah. Total new cultures.
Yeah. Well, we were in the East Coast and going through Europe. I got to at least visit, France and some parts of Spain. That was the fun part. But when we get to, go on leave, I think this was, and see the sights. But the problem was I was seasick. So it's so bad for me when we're in sea. It's so bad. and I'm taking all those stories now, and I'm actually writing a script called Seasick.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, so it's something I'm pitching. I'm creating my own IP now, and I would,
Mhm.
um, so it's a troubled teen trying to get out of gang life in LA, joins the
Mhm.
Navy, and he discovers he's afraid of open water. Now he has to get out of it as by any means necessary. So it's a dramedy.
There you go, man. If you need some reference, I can give you some reference because
Oh
I was
man,
seasick
yeah.
too.
You
I,
were
I
awesome.
yeah,
We could
yeah. I
talk
had
about
to.
that.
They gave me the Dramamine, and then I'd have to go outside and look at the horizon.
Horizon. Oh
Yeah,
man.
to sort of fix my equilibrium because I was just, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Wow. Wow.
yeah.
We're
On certain ships, right? The smaller ships, that was where it's the roughest for me. I was on a frigate too, so it was like,
on
oh
a
my
frigate.
gosh. Yeah,
That's
the small
smaller
ones,
than. Yeah.
smaller
I
than.
was on I was on an amphibious landing craft. We
Mm,
brought the
yeah.
Marines. That's another thing. I signed up so I don't have to go first to war, and we had to bring the Marines. I was like, oh my god, you know.
So opposite everything. You're like,
Yeah,
no, 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 no.
yeah.
Yes,
It's
yes.
not not for me. I asked to be an artist too, like in the media or something, and I was a boatswain's mate. The janitor of the ship.
Right.
You know, I do love painting the ship from outside because I'm not afraid of heights. So I love like hanging over the side and
Mhm.
painting it. Anyway, that's so awesome. I didn't know you were also there, but
Yeah.
I wouldn't change my experience because I love that. I love that I grew up pretty fast, but
Mhm.
I also hated it. So it's
It's like a love-hate relationship, right? You get to meet a lot of cool people, and
yeah,
on the flip side, there's of course the bad people, but you just sort of push through it and all that
yeah,
good
yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
So after that, nothing phases me now.
Awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah, hey, you make it through
yeah,
that. It's awesome.
yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah.
uh now that we know sort of like how you got started in your career, you know, what got you to Marvel Studios?
It was the road to Infinity War. It sounds like that's the road. It took a while. I have a 20-year career. I started off designing the bubble for Bubble Boy. That's my first film. If you guys ever get to see the special features, you'd see some of my sketches there.
Mm,
Um, I used to not paint in Photoshop yet, the way I paint now. So after that, just a few more. I worked on Chronicles of Riddick for a little bit. I did the Commander Vaco character with the Vanilla Ice haircut. Kind of, you remember that guy?
yeah.
I worked on Man in Black 2. But the way I got to working for Marvel is the head of visual development, Ryan Meinerding, Charlie Wen, Andy Park, Jackson Zay, and Rodney. I knew of him, but he was not a student of mine, right? Uh, Actually, I think what I'm trying to say is, so the way I got into Marvel is because I knew Ryan Meinerding, who was a student of mine when I used to teach class at Noman School with Kevin Chen, this other friend of mine. So that's where I first met him. And Andy Park also took my class with Kevin Chen, and as well as Jackson Zay. So it's like I already knew these guys before they became Marvel, or even before Ryan became the head of visual development. Plus, one of my good friends, uh, Charlie Wen, was also there, and he was co-head of visual development. And I think as time went by, uh, and they all kind of placed in their respective positions, there was Guardians of the Galaxy that was being developed, and they needed a creature designer, but they didn't know I already also did characters. They thought I was still just a creature designer. So my name came up as somebody that they could use, and of course I I wanted to work there ever since I saw Captain America, and I knew friend, Ryan was working there too, but I didn't know how much of a influence he can have with recommending me to work there.
Mhm.
And I was at Rhythm and News for 2 years before that. That's where I worked at RIPD, and actually, was that one Hunger Games too. I was able to work on that over there. But when they kind of closed down, I saved enough money to do my short film, and that's when Marvel called me, and I said, "Oh, I can't, skip this opportunity." Even though it was just a 3-week gig, really, to design some creatures, and then 3 weeks became 8 years. So yeah, so
Nice.
That is an amazing story. That is a really cool story. How you came up and you got into Marvel, and I mean, it's just mind blowing the stuff that we're seeing today. I mean, a lot of our viewers right now probably don't even realize some of the stuff that you have worked on. So the roles get very confusing in the studios when people like myself read them in a magazine or hear them on interviews. We really don't understand them. So, could you tell me a little bit about, you know, um, where in the pipeline your work comes in and how it, interacts with other departments and things like that?
oh yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, most people don't know the stages of it. So Marvel Studios Visual Development is its own department within Marvel Studios. So the people that we answer to usually is the president of Marvel himself, Kevin Feige, and the executives that work there, the producers that are full time there, because our team is staff artists that work under these executives, and so we're full time. So usually the directors or the costume designer or production designers are the ones uh, that when the project's done, they're done, and then we roll out a new project, and then we kind of staff up again with the new director or script, or a writer. So we usually come in the beginning, and what's nice being there full time is that the characters are already in the comic book, so we already have a source material to start designing the next movies. We'd be like on 3 4 projects at the same time before, like 2 years in advance, before there's a script, sometimes before there's a director even chosen. So if it was like a train cart, right? The front of the train, and you have all these carts in, and the front of the train has Kevin Feige in it. We're like the next train cart over together with, the other executives or producers. So yeah, so that's, I guess in a nutshell, that's the position we're in the pipeline. And after we design the heroes and villains of the MCU, and we get it approved, it now goes into the next department, either the art department or costume department, depending on which ones like need the work, because we don't just do characters and creatures, but we also do keyframe art, to kind of talk about the scene, help the director visualize his vision. We're also there to help problem solve whatever problems they may have. Like, and most of the time, it's, does this look cool? Does it look cool enough? Or does these creatures look fine together if there's a lot of them? Also, we not just design the front of the character, we also design the front and the back and the turnarounds. Those are the stuff people don't usually see that we do, and that becomes the blueprint that's taken to the costume department, and then they make it into reality. And of course, there's a great collaboration between that, because sometimes things need to change. It's not always the same, but if we do our designs right, it kind of keeps within the whole movie, like like Thor Ragnarok, or the Daughter of Malaje, or even Baby Groot. That kind of, it just how do you say this? It's able to maintain the design until the very end.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. Speaking of Baby Groot, I am Groot.
Yeah.
You are the visual creator of Baby Groot. How did that sort of happen?
Well, that was very interesting because I the moniker was given to me. It was actually a visual father of Baby Groot. That was given to me during a Comic-Con panel in 2019, I think it was, and it was a lot of people. It was awesome.
Yes.
Tara Bennett. So she introduced all of us, and I was the last one to be introduced. And she just said that. So now, you've known this character, and now here's the guy the visual father of Baby Groot. And I was like, I like that. I should keep that all the time. So that has, I'm so glad with that soundbite, and I kept that, and hopefully it will serve like a legacy, I guess, for like myself, my kid, something that I could be proud of, and
That's
I thank her
awesome.
for that.
Yeah, Baby Groot is going to be it's a love lore. Like people love that character. Like ever since he's when he started in the beginning of the movie when he's dancing around, and it's just like people fell in love with him. And then you have everybody doing the memes of Baby Groot, and it's just taken off like it's
It's
like crazy. It's like he's one of the most lovable characters that are out there. Baby Groot and uh uh
Yoda.
from Baby Yoda from The
Baby Yoda.
Mandalorian. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a battle between those two. I remember seeing
Yeah.
that. Baby Groot, you're not as cute anymore. Oh no.
Right.
Oh, man. Yeah. So you were gonna say something. Sorry, I interrupted you there.
Oh no, I'm good. I was just talking about Baby Groot. Yeah, so I guess we can jump into some of the other questions that we have for you while we got you on. So everybody's dealing with COVID right now, COVID-19. So how where I work at, it's been a struggle, but we're all persevering. You're similar industry but you're delivering things for the big screen and the small screen. You still got to work with a lot of people. So
Yeah.
how have you been handling COVID? Family wise, and then work life balance and all that stuff.
Oh, uh, Disney actually had us start working from home the moment in March. So when that happened, we were working from home. It was interesting in the beginning, but then, actually, I really enjoy working from home now. And it's because I get to spend time with my kids, more. And it just feels like I could take a break whenever I want to. It's just a little easier. And I like sometimes when I design, I like to just lie down, close my eyes, and dream as if I'm watching a Netflix special in my head, and I just see it there. I just wake up and then start drawing.
Mhm.
That's how I would treat. For me, it wasn't so bad. I kind of liked it. It's just the bad parts were just knowing a lot of people were dying, that kind of stuff.
Mhm.
And just hoping it would get better, you know. But I also kind of hope that I could work from home a little more. But things are getting normal now. It seems like things are opening up, and
Mhm.
if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask anymore, which is cool. But I haven't actually gone to work. Work. We're still in the process of figuring things out, because what's awesome, I mean, it's awesome and not awesome, is that at home, uh, I think the leadership could tell that we still did our work. It was still, high level. I mean, I worked on at that time 4 projects at the same time, and it was awesome. But at the same time, it was taking all my time at home, and there was no line in between that would say stop working. I
All
just
right.
keep on going, and then what's happening? We shouldn't. Um, and I guess that discipline was kind of hard to stop
Mhm.
working, because it's so addicting. It's not work for me. It's like a vacation, right? It's like
Right. It's
it's like
like
that
fun work.
song.
Yeah. Yeah. They say
What?
once you find your job that you really love to do, it's really not work. It's you're doing what you love, right? So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's just you're just diving into it and you just get lost in it and you
You
just
get
love it so
lost.
much. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
then I gained like a lot of weight. And then my body starts. That's the only thing, guys. The artists out there, it does get so much fun that it's almost a drug. You're so addicted to it that you forget to stand up every hour and exercise. I should be like ripped right now because in the COVID, I should have been working out all the time. But yeah, it was hard to control. Uh, when to stop working. I think
Mhm.
at one point I was waking up at 5 a.m. just so I could like work all. It's
All
crazy.
day.
I'm
Yeah.
crazy in that sense. So now I'm not on a lot of projects at the same time, and it just feels a little better. Plus, what I was trying to do too is do 8 hours from 5 to 1 or something, and then maybe not work in the afternoon. But I still end up doing that.
You're like, hey, I got to do one more thing. That one more
Yeah.
thing turns into 20.
It's kind of like a relaxing thing at the same time for you. You draw something, it's your creation, and you're like, oh, this looks cool. I want to keep going, and let's see where I could take this. It's like you don't want to step away, and you just want to stay in that moment of
That zone, yeah.
yeah.
Because the ideas are coming in, and you're like, if I stop now, I won't be able to get this out. It's almost like you're not. It's almost like I don't have control of the ideas. I just see it coming by, and I gotta grab this now and put this here. It's an interesting process.
It's really
Nice.
cool. And I have a question for you as well. So I know that the kind of work that you do, the design work, the visual design, and all of that. Um, and there's like in my mind when I think about this, right? If I was to be designing something, so I would feel like there might be meaning behind the design or the costume or the way it is for a purpose. And when you design, do you design things a certain way for a purpose? Is there a reason why some characters might, have special emblems or different things on
Yeah,
them?
yeah, definitely. I try to always put story behind my design, and since we're doing stuff for movies, you definitely have to read the script. Like that's the first thing you should do. Understand your character, what kind of personality does he have, what kind of tools of the trade that they have, and even if it doesn't have any, you should probably just make a story. If it's just a background character, like is he a carpenter, is he a warrior, so what kind of warrior materials would he have on his body, and then one of my favorite ones, when we're talking about is Loki. So I designed Loki for Thor Ragnarok, and he's one of my favorite characters in the MCU. And I wanted well, first I was lucky that Taika Waititi wanted a brand new Loki, that he didn't want to have the old version of the Asgard version, which was designed by Charlie Wen. And luckily, because his designs are awesome, I don't know how I'm going to like do a better job with that. But since I could start from scratch, then I felt a little bit more confident. So in the beginning, he wanted Loki to look like a Norse god, more in the mythology, god of mischief, but more like a warrior, not so ambiguous. Is that what? Like he looks like he could also be. Well, now we know Loki is a bisexual, right? That's what they're saying. We know he goes both. So, but you would have seen it though in that character design. You could tell he was. But for this one, he wanted first to make him look more macho, but then it quickly changed to back to make sure he looks like the Loki from Asgard, but just change the costume design. Mm-hmm. So when I started the costume design, it's like, think of the character. His mom died, his dad died, and his sister's going after him. And I made sure that designs on his costume was try to put that imbalance in his costume, like asymmetry. So one side has more armor, and then the lines the cut lines in his costume would be diagonal. If you guys would like zoom in closer and look how the leather is cut apart, it's to symbolize like a seesaw, like one side's heavier than the other, and it's imbalance because he's having all this internal turmoil and the sadness and maybe even some depression, but he compensates to it by being even more like aggressive, I guess. He also in Thor Ragnarok, he also doesn't know if he's gonna be good or bad, right? He's still kind of wrestling with that idea, but in the end, he gets his true colors back, right? His green again. There's more story to it when to share with you guys the little check mark that he has here, like the little V. In the beginning, I was thinking, okay, he has to get in with what's his name, the Grandmaster, right? He needs to be,
Grandmaster. Yeah.
he needs to feel like he's a nobleman, and he needs all this jewelry. And for some reason, I was thinking, what if he's a hip hop artist, or he's like Mr. T? He has all these chains. That was in the beginning. I wanted that because he wants to show he's rich and all this stuff. But little by little, as I'm designing it, like this change with even an L that says Loki, but that L kind of slowly got smaller and smaller until I streamlined it and it became that little V mark. But also,
Nice.
it also became like a little heart, because I wanted it to feel like he still has heart for where he grew up, which is Asgard, his mom, his dad. Then it became like an emotional journey now, and these symbols that connect that part of him, that's a smaller part of him now, because he's changing, he's reinventing himself. And so that's the shoulder piece has some of that. And even the way it was cut, I made sure it can be made, because sometimes you want to think ahead, so when the costume designer sees it, she won't, or he or she won't feel like, oh, this is too impossible to make. So what I did was I used the base design for not the design though, the base structure for Loki's costume for Dark World, which is one of my favorite ones that Charlie Wen did. So I used that and kind of use that as a base and put the design on that. So if ever they had a question, I had to do like a photoreal version of it, like just taking that picture and then turning it to blue, and so okay, it can be made because it's been done before. So that was one of the hurdles I had to go through in getting this design. But my favorite part is the helmet. But what do you guys think? I mean, of the helmet when you first saw it?
Oh, I thought it was phenomenal. From when he first did it in in the Avengers movie, I was like, oh my gosh, right? And there you go, there it is.
My favorite one. I designed it with the open top because of Loki in X-Men Asgardian Wars. He was wearing something similar. That's one of my favorite comic book storylines ever. So I put this in this design, and if you notice the little lines here, that's like based off. It's not based off any Jack Kirby designs, but I just studied his designs so much that I knew what overlaps in and out, and I kind of wanted to make this feel like that. Just like the shoulder piece for Incredible Hulk was really, like a centerpiece to have Jack Kirby's designs influence.
Yeah, your the design work that you've done has been awesome. All the stuff that you've done for Black Panther, Baby Groot, of course. I mean, this is the pinnacle of the stuff that we're seeing in the movies, right? So you guys are doing a great job, and this is the core of it, right? I think a lot of people, when we watch the movies, are like, oh, this is awesome. All the characters look great, but behind the scenes, the stuff that you guys are doing to make this come to life is awesome.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see over time from the comics, right? Like I can look at a comic from 1987 through the early 90s, and it was mind blowing to me. But now when I see like the MCU on the screen, I'm like, whoa, this is so much cooler. Like there's so much more detail. Like, you know, the of course the actors have the personalities and they play the characters great and they do an excellent job, but the costumes and everything else just fits and goes along. And to me that is like the whole world is a piece of art, right? You take something
Yeah.
from a page and you turn it into this living piece of art, and it's like, wow, just to learn what goes on behind the scenes, and sometimes that there's meanings to these things, and how you think of these things. Like it is very creative and very cool.
Was the
Like I just
the
love
fir-
it, man.
the first time you guys saw the first time I saw Thanos in that head in that animation, wasn't that so amazing? I was like, wow, this has to win an
Yeah.
Academy Award or something. And man, it just sorry,
No
it
worries,
didn't
no
win
worries,
one.
no worries.
It lost. How would this lose? There's no way.
Yeah, I think the Marvel movies have been getting snubbed in Oscars as far as like visual dev and
Yeah,
um,
the whole movie was a
even
visual effects.
right, the entire movie, right? Infinity War. Oh my gosh, that movie! I think that movie is like one of my favorite all-time Marvel movies. But that's a visual, like all of Thanos. It was
Visual
wonderfully
feast.
done. Yeah. Iron
Visual feast.
Man, the nanotech that he had from the beginning when he was walking out with Doctor Strange, and
Yeah,
you know, oh man, this is like
the
a
designs
visual.
for the children of Thanos, they were so awesome. I
Yeah.
wish I worked on one of those guys, but I didn't get to. Um, and
Yeah.
yeah, even the spaceships, like the way it's just very uniquely designed and
Mhm.
iconic to that world. And yeah, Infinity War is one of my favorite. You can't even stop watching it when you watch it from the beginning. I have to like watch all the way to the
You
end. I
gotta
was like,
watch it to the end, right? That's
yeah,
one of those movies.
and then I'm like, I gotta watch Endgame again now, and just because I need to see this part.
Yeah.
Oh man, my
Nice.
daughter, I brought her for the premiere night. I brought my daughter with me, and we were
Mhm.
watching it. And when Loki got grabbed and he died, she's like, she looked at me, her all teary eyes, like, he's coming back, right? No, I don't like this movie. It's like, well, wait till the end, because it's Peter Parker. It's gonna
Yeah.
be even more sadder. Wow, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
It is like close to your heart. It's weird, that I feel that.
Nice, nice. And the wonderful artwork that you did on Black Panther, the visual effects there, like that movie there, like I keep on saying it wrong.
Dora, yeah. Dora Milaje. I used
Dora
to pronounce
Milaje.
it
Oh
wrong.
my gosh, somebody's gonna beat me up for mispronouncing that.
You just
Yeah,
edit
the
that
Dora
out.
Milaje. Oh my gosh, a lot of people don't know that you were the designer of their outfits. And that's amazing. And that movie, the visual, the costume designs. I just know on the back end the visual dev that had to go into creating these vibrant colors, the way that when they're shooting that the scenes on the rocks are all dancing around and stuff, and just all the colors and all the different tribes and stuff like that. And then you have the Dora Milaje, the way that they're sort of they're the protectors of the king, but they just show like authority, right? They're there, so they don't look like princesses.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. They're
Yeah,
yeah,
but
fierce warriors.
yeah, fierce warriors, but their outfits
Yeah.
look really good, right? So it's
Yeah, when
awesome.
I designed that for the way it got approved was really cool. That someone just told me a story because I wasn't in the meeting or anything,
Mhm.
but I pictured them like lionesses hunting in the Serengeti, so that's why she was Okoye was like almost in that orange kind of look, because I was trying to make her feel like a lioness, because the women do the hunting in the pride, right? It's like the males just do nothing, so it's like so her and Nakia's costume for her Dora Milaje costume, which is red, and that's because of the comic book. I think they were red there, and I used inspiration in the comic book, the fierceness of them, but at the same time, I knew not to make them scantily clad, because that's like something that most of our Marvel films, we don't want to really do that. But how do you get that warrior feeling, that traditional tribal feeling, but still modernizing it, right? So you find the right combination of value meaning how dark or how light something is, and you study the tribal culture. I was really influenced by the Dinka tribe. Ever since started my career, I had this big book I think it's called African Celebration, or African I forgot the name, Celebrations, I think it's called, but they're two big volumes of books, and there's this corset that they would have all these beading and beadwork, that was something I've always used in different designs I did, even for games. And this game I was in called Project Offset for the Dark Elves, I would use that on them. But it's always that game actually never came out. Project Offset. Are you familiar with that? Project Offset. Have you heard of it?
I have not, but
you have not. But 3 years of my career, and then all of a sudden, we got bought by Intel, and then something happened, and it didn't come out. Anyway, I themed the Dark Elves with that, but then I took those shapes again, and I put it pretty much almost all my tribal design shapes with all this kind of beadwork that I've done throughout my whole career. I put it all in this, so it means so much to me, because a lot of me is in there,
Right.
It becomes emotional to me, because when I think about it, when I was doing it, it's almost like I knew how it looked like already. I didn't have to do this, and I actually wish I had my sketchbook here. When I start sketching each of the designs first and choosing between these rough sketches, I didn't even look at any reference anymore, because it was in my head. But the research that I've done before just started coming into my brain, and I looked through. Not only did I use African elements, but I also used Southeast Asian stuff, and I also used Native American. I also used samurai, because I was thinking, okay, the kind of warrior I want to create is something that's iconic, someone that would think of it like a samurai, because the samurai is so iconic, everybody thinks it's so cool, and the ninja, right? So, but they can't be ninjas, because they have to be proud. People need to see them. Ninjas always operate in the dark. Sorry, this is kind of long explanation.
No, it's awesome. This is awesome.
Yes, it's awesome.
Cool. Thanks. But then they needed to be samurai. Like, okay, what would be samurai for Africans? Like African tribes. And then I looked into the Zulu tribe and these the Maasai warriors, of course. But there's even older ones that there's a TV show I think called Zulu or something like that, or I forgot. But I just wanted to see who all these iconic warriors, and then look at them all and see how I could kind of put them together and make a special warrior for Wakanda. Man, reliving it again, I just feel so happy that I was able to put it together and find that through line between Africa, Southeast Asia, China, and then all the way to Native Americans from South America all the way to North America. And you'd be surprised how it feels like there's something that connects all of them. And, so it all went down into the beadwork on the samurai armor. I put the beadwork, African beadwork there, and instead of and almost all research you do, you got these scarification they would do on their body, right? And then I was thinking, I don't want to put the actors in the chairs for too long. So instead of doing scarification as prosthetics on their arm, what I did, I made it into like a sleeve, just like the samurai sleeve armor. So I made that, but I changed the way the armor is so that it looks like scarification beadwork. Yeah, there's so much to it. I should do like a little book and then explain
There you go.
You know,
Yeah. I'm sure they're happy for that. They're like, oh, we don't have to spend that much time in the chair. Thanks, Anthony.
Yeah, they don't know that. I mean, I met Denai one time at like a pre-Oscar party thing, but I didn't really get to talk to her so much because I was feeling a little sick, and I told her I'm a little sick, and she's like, oh, okay, stay away from me. So, but she was so nice. She like hugged me, and yeah, I wish I had more time to tell them that, because I think about that, not only how comfortable they should be, but how the costume should move, because they're not gonna be sitting down. So you know, maybe they could move like how samurai moves. So that's why I use that construction wise, you know, that one, so they could move the way they move.
Awesome.
And of course, the Filipino Igorot tribe, I put a little bit of that Filipino in
There
there.
you go. You got
Boom. You know, and then you come up with something unique. 80% African, you know, 10% samurai, 5% Filipino, 5% ninja. You know, because they're ninja feet, right? It's like,
put it all together and it turns into something epic. And that's the beauty of it, right? Is connecting all these real life things in the humanity, right? And what brings us all together. Like you guys are doing, like Marvel Studios is doing a wonderful job to celebrate, you know, all the different cultures, and it's just so epic. And I think that's why they're doing so great, because it's just these stories, the visual effects, the actors, the actresses,
did
directors,
you know
all that stuff.
There's one other thing I'm going to tell you. Did you know that because during that time I was watching a lot of Walking Dead, and as soon as I know about the Dora Milaje, I thought in my head there's only one person that could play, you know, the head of the Dora Milaje, and Denai Guerrera from Walking Dead. I painted her face, her head was bald, and then Ryan was like, I wonder if she'll want to bald her head, but she looks good in this, you know. I don't even know if she was casted yet. I feel like, actually, no, I knew she wasn't casted yet. I was like, I knew that they had casted what's her name, the other girl. Gotta edit this part out, make it seem like I know her name right away. What's her name? Oh my god, how can I forget her name?
Is she hold on one second. Nakia. Oh, Lupita Nyong'o, exactly.
Yeah. So I knew Lupita Nyong'o was the one they were casting already, and yeah, I didn't hear about Denai, but I put that in there, and I'm wondering if it was an influence for them to get her. I really wonder, because she was not part of the cast yet. It's almost like for Doctor Strange, I was painting Cumberbatch as Doctor. Everyone actually thought of him as, I don't know if everyone did, but I know I did. I was painting his face in my Doctor Strange costume. My costume actually that I did was like one of the directions they went with. I just didn't finish the design. Carlo Ortiz did that design, but nice. I headed the direction for it, you know. But anyway, sorry, I jumped off from there to Doctor Strange, and you know, there's so much stuff to talk about.
No, it's awesome.
I mean, I was gonna say that's really cool, because it's almost like that, you know, when you're working on these designs and these characters, and you're working on the clothes and the outfits, and then you're trying to put a face to the character that you are creating. Sometimes, you know, natural influences come in, and you look at real inspirational people, and you feel like maybe like their facial characteristics fit the character. And I think that sometimes that's a great thing, because the casting people, or the directors, the producers, they might be able to see that through your art and be like, I can see the picture the artist is creating, so let's see if we can get this person to play this role. and
Right.
and that probably influences some decisions because it just works together. It works with everything that's been already created, and that's part of the magic I think of um what you guys do in your position. You guys do a lot of magic behind the scenes that people like me would never even know about, right? Like I would never even know about the Loki design and the imbalances and any of that. I would just see, oh, that's what he's wearing. Like I would have no idea
Yeah,
that there
Right.
could be meaning behind
yeah,
this
the
stuff.
work
And
behind it, yeah, definitely. And speaking of magic, like you said, we had to figure out how magic would look like in Doctor Strange, and how those light effects should look very different from Captain Marvel, should look very different from Guardians of the Galaxy. Like the feeling needs to be have variety in the feeling.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, it's really
Yeah.
and they sometimes they would change some parts in the script because they liked some of our. I think that's what I love about Marvel. You're able to have a discussion and kind of recommend some stuff. Like for Ant-Man, you know the fight in the suitcase. The
Hmm.
description that I got was fight in suitcase. So then I was like, "What's in the suitcase?" Okay, and then Charlie Wen was still at Marvel at that time, so he was head. Well, it's up to you. What? It's up to me, and that's my second show that I worked on. I said, "This is a lot of responsibility." I was thinking, "What? I don't know what to do here." But I didn't say that. You don't want to say that. Just okay. How do you do this? And I realized I was becoming like a production designer in that little thing. It was my ideas that not it was my idea to come up with the phone floating in there for light, because when I was painting it, I was like, it's all dark in there. Is it dark? It can't be dark. How can I make a light? So then I started. Actually, there's something I actually don't talk much about, and I should probably start talking about this more because with all my interviews, I just talk about the really big movies that people really know about, but like the Ant-Mans of the cinematic universe, right? The Marvel Cinematic Universe are like these little parts that I worked on that really helped me learn to put more than just designing characters. I designed like a whole scene and put
Hmm.
okay, a stapler here, a pencil here. The pencil's broken. I had to fill all that out and use the outside light between the cracks to light some parts. And I even did the fight choreography in the because I had like multiple little frames to
Yeah.
wow. Wow, this great talking to you guys. I'm remembering
Yeah,
some
awesome.
fun I
Yeah, I'm
had.
glad,
Yeah.
I'm glad we're able to trigger some of that stuff. So those
Yeah.
are the things that people would not even know, right? This
Yeah.
is huge. This is awesome. Like,
They write it into the script.
right.
Remember the part where Ant-Man montage and he feeds Anthony sugar water?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
yes,
So I had a keyframe with that. Like, since he's training with them, it's like his pet. It's like a puppy. It's like a dog. What do you give a dog? A treat when they do
Right.
something good. And I researched so much about ants, and I found out like ants are all female. Only the males are there to do one thing and they die. That's it. And then
Right.
so the sugar water I did in my painting, and they wrote that in the script. It's awesome. There's so
That's
much
awesome. Yeah.
fulfillment.
Yeah, you do something, create it. Next thing you know, it's in the movie, in the script, and you're like, wow, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
gotta be awesome. Yeah. Wonderful feeling. Wonderful
Yeah.
feeling for sure. Yeah.
so that right there, what you just said is something that again, someone like me would never ever know, is that they give you an idea. They say, hey, fight in suitcase, and then in your mind you break the whole thing down. In your mind you're like, okay, if he's moving this way, the phone's got to be this way, the light's
Yeah.
got to be this way, and that's so cool that you have a kind of influence in that, and you can send that back to them and they're like, oh, this is great, we're going to add this to the script because it makes
Yeah.
sense. So a lot of times maybe it's just crazy to think now, going through all the movies in my head, just how many times a visual designer or an artist it's the one that made the changes to make these magic moments happen. So thank you for that awesomeness, because
Well, thank you.
that was
Thank you for having me
fantastic.
here. Talk
Yeah,
about it.
wasn't that suitcase moving around too? Everything's flying
Yeah,
around.
yeah. It was a lot of thinking. It took me some time to figure it out because I didn't understand what my role was, and it's one of those things when you're given a bigger role but you're not used to it. It's almost like you're happy but you're confused. Are you trusting with me with all this stuff really? Like this is, and in Marvel, yeah, it's when Infinity War, when Endgame came out and it made 1 billion in 11 days, and we were the team. There's just 150 full timers in at Disney in that floor. We like took over the whole second floor. Am I supposed to say that? Saying that where we are anyway. So, we were all together and we were all like cheering, like, oh no, it's just another day. And then one of the guys goes, guys, we're part of like this history thing. It's like, it's weird. Yeah, I always wanted to. I wish I was on Star Wars because that's like this big thing. But then we're actually part. And anyway, I couldn't understand that feeling and realizing, and not wanting to brag, but then accepting it. Like, and all of us kind of were like, wow, this.
Right.
Yeah, it is.
Take some time to sort of just absorb the moment, right?
Yeah.
You guys, you're doing something. The entire team is doing something special. Everyone has put in a lot of hours to bring a lot of this stuff to life.
Overtime, but not being asked to do overtime.
Yeah.
We just do it. We just do it.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then you
On
got
the
to probably
weekends.
work with all the different directors. They all have different sort of way of how they work on things, and they may want to change something that needs to go back to you to work on. So yeah, man.
That is something to also take into consideration, because which director you're gonna be doing stuff for, knowing their because I'm good with doing goofy stuff. So whenever I do stuff with Taika or with I just ask Andy, okay, because he's usually in the meetings. It's not like I don't really go to the meetings, and Andy would relay back to me and say, yeah, they laughed at this part, exactly the one I wanted them to laugh at, and they're snickering like, good job. It's like, yes, I knew they were gonna laugh at that one. I can't wait. You guys, when you see Thor: Love and Thunder, there's like some designs there that I'm so proud of. I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Oh, I'm gonna be looking hard now, because knowing what you've already told me about some of the past stuff, I can only imagine the kind of cool stuff that you might have put in this one. So really looking forward to it.
It'll be some original stuff of mine, like just
nice.
Yeah,
we're definitely excited for Thor: Love and Thunder. So let's jump into some of the stuff that you're going to show us for Endgame. You want to share your screen and dive into some of that stuff?
Yeah, so this is something I did for Endgame. So for Endgame, they wanted an idea of how to represent time travel visually, like the initial like spark for time travel. And I was thinking, wormholes, and I was watching this thing with who's the guy from Shawshank Redemption,
Morgan Freeman.
Yes, Morgan Freeman. He I was watching this thing. He was talking about a particle behaving like a wave in a ray or something like that. And if you go really deep into like a string theory, or I forgot exactly what it was, but then they showed this one experiment where there's this droplet like bouncing on some water and you see ripples, and I was thinking, wow, that's amazing. What if those things bounces so hard the ripples are time frequencies you could just jump into, and it opens a wormhole. So I was thinking something like that, since when you get really in deep into the atomic level, I guess physics doesn't work right, or something like that. And I wanted to use the the magnetic field shape of a magnetic field when you put a magnet onto paper with sand, and it starts making these, I started looking weird there. Making this kind of shape around it, around that magnet. So I used it here. So here's the sample. So did a little animatic.
Wow, look at that. Hey, Cap, where you go? Ah, nice. I remember this scene in Endgame.
Yeah, that is just so cool how this kind of magic happens.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable actually seeing it, you know, from your perspective and the creation of it. It is mind blowing. I will say that.
Right.
And of course, it looks so much better on the screen. But I took into consider the amount of time it needs to be, because you know you don't want a long intro. You want something quick, and I knew that the Russo brothers needed something like that, because you'll have to see this happen often. So you got to be able to think about the film, you know, how they will utilize this.
Right.
But you didn't see this exactly like this. But what you did see in the film was they were in their time suits, and you see them get small. But then there's a top view where the wave happens, but you have to really look carefully. So,
yeah, it's part of that entire animation. But yeah, but for you to be able to develop and make that part of the movie, to at least give it's so real, people are expecting, like, people don't even know what they're looking at, right? They just see it, right? And it looks natural to them. So like, this is supposed to happen this way, right? So that's the cool thing about it.
You know, I was trying to explain that to Ryan, that when they really shrink really small like this, their whole mass is kind of packed into one really heavy, like almost like a black hole. They become like a little black hole. So they're so heavy that they suck all the light into them, and then that's why you see this light coming into him. And when they drop, they're so heavy they ripple space-time and then break into.
There you go. Yeah.
So a lot of that kind of trying to make sense of it and stuff. But I'm so happy that my first pass, they liked it. It's like, wow.
Nice.
I was like, I'm so cocky. Yeah. No, that's like
the visual effects team takes that. They're like, oh yeah, let's go to work on this.
Yeah, and they make it so much more better. It's one of my accomplishments that I wish I could talk a little more clearly. I have to practice how I explain it, because I don't talk about it as much because it doesn't seem interesting, you know.
Yeah. Well, we're glad that you're here with us explaining it. I mean, you know, this is awesome for us to be able to see this. This is sort of, you know, the back. I'm a nerd for this stuff, and a lot of our audience is too. So they're gonna look at this and be like, "Wow, this is some cool stuff," and are gonna want to learn more. And hopefully this sort of work that you're sharing, and after, of course, you're allowed to share and release. You know, people like yourself get celebrated for it a little bit more, because this is the key to a lot of the things that happen in these movies. And a lot of people just take advantage. I wouldn't say take advantage. They automatically assume that the stuff just gets put together by people who buy the outfits and stuff like that. But it's a whole nother level to this thing.
There's another version I was just playing where it drops in and it hits kind of like this water thing, and it does the ripple effect. But I was working with another artist, Steve Shirley, on this. It's kind of like taking my idea and just flipping it a little bit. I have other versions of it I couldn't find, but I want to share this one with you. We were doing at the end of Endgame, like fight gags or combinations of, you know, when Captain America got the shield and the hammer, and everyone's like, "Whoa!" That was amazing. Like we were tasked to do combinations like that with different people, and I think Jackson Say did one that's really awesome with all the female, female superheroes, and I was trying to come up with my own version, where I was thinking, Giant Man would be pulling. Oh, would be pulling the leviathans out of the ground. Oops. Let me hold this. Why is? Oh, here it is. I'm looking for the arrow. Yeah, and the whole idea was the catch me if you can thing with the gauntlet, right? So, and here's one. And so this is one idea with the catch me with the gauntlet one, where Spider-Man would use his webs and use Groot as a they call
Slingshot.
that slingshot. Yes, a slingshot. Exactly. And back here, I was going to render all of this out with, Giant Man hitting the Leviathan and a nice background, all these people fighting, but not enough time, and they needed quick ideas mostly. And this one, I was thinking Scarlet Witch would levitate the ground up so he could Giant Man could jump in and attack the Leviathans.
Yeah, similar to the Doctor Strange thing, where in Infinity War, where Star-Lord was running on his things.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, something like that. And it's just another hero shot, but them running away. This is my favorite one. It's awesome if this is in the film.
That would have been awesome to see that in the film. He's on it, and then he's using it as a steering it, taking control of it.
Yeah. And maybe he could ride it like a bull rider or something. So that one. Then I got this last one. This one was the one they liked, but it didn't end up being in the film. So so these missiles were about to hit Rocket, and here comes Team Groot. He's getting the gauntlet, and he goes, "No, I don't want you to die." And he covers him up, and then Rocket tells you, "Not this again," because remember in Guardians 1, Groot sacrificed his life for the team. And this ain't happening again, so he starts running inside the ball, and then it's like this hamster ball rolling down the hill. Then you're going down, "I am Groot," and then you see his face again, "I am Groot." Yes, that's
Oh man.
Oh, that is so awesome.
I got a good laugh, and I was like, oh, maybe I could switch jobs and be a storyboard artist instead, or
Storyboard artist. If that scene was in the movie, that would have been just totally unexpected. It would have been funny, but during the battle, it's all serious, and this would have been some of the other comic relief sort of thing. And it would have played well too, because, like you said, Groot sacrificed himself in Guardians, and then Rocket's like, "Oh no, not this again. We're not going back to Baby Groot again." So he's like, "Let's get out of here."
There's another one I could share. This was for Thor Ragnarok, and this keyframe had multiple how do you say this? Multiple things to answer, how does his costume look like? How do the they were thinking the henchmen of Hela, yeah, would look like this, more like demons.
Yeah.
And then how his lightning would look like. That was another reason why I had to do this keyframe. Oh, I was trying to zoom in. Let me just show you guys some detail. Actually, why am I doing it this way? Let me just drop it in Photoshop. Can you see my Photoshop?
Yep.
Okay, yeah, here. And then I can zoom in better. So there. So you could
oh, look at that.
Yeah, that detail is amazing.
He's fighting, and it's rough at the same time. In some parts, I kind of like doing that where the focal point is just right. where you need it. Usually I would divide this in like a rule of thirds type thing, where you divide it like a, oops, wait, let me see my, sorry, just
Break out the pen.
my pen. Yeah, where's my pen? So yeah, so one good thing that people should know, just for a rule of thumb, that you could break, is when you do a rule of thirds thing, you could break the frame in 3, like this, and usually these intersections are where your eye goes to, and you could put your focal point close to it or even on it, but since I had this lightning coming in, it will hit this, and I guided your eye to him, so almost everything was guiding this way to his head. Even this little light back here is helping things from far away, if your eye was here, to go this way.
Right.
Yeah,
That's
and
awesome.
I had this thing too. If he's the centerpiece here, everything else would radiate from here. So if you notice, this is what's happening. You don't see it right, but now when I do this, when you see this image again, you'd kind of think of the fan kind of composition. Anyway, yeah, so I had that one.
That's amazing.
What else
Like
was
how
I showing?
I
remember.
think you said the moon in Infinity War. I don't know.
Yes, that's the one. That's it. Okay, so let me show you this one.
When Thanos decided to throw a moon at Iron Man.
Yeah.
the rest of the game.
Doctor Strange versus Thanos. So these are the images when they came to me and asked, okay, Anthony, you have to design Thanos versus Doctor Strange, and it should be an epic battle you've never seen before. It's like that's getting harder and harder to do, because there's so much like epic scenes already. How do you come up with something new?
Right.
So I was thinking he was gonna kind of try to trap Thanos in what do you call it? The mirror world? Is that what it's called? I forgot what it's called.
The what he did to Loki, right?
Yeah, or in Doctor Strange 1, there was that class kind of thing that he would do. I should know these things. So yeah, this is the beginning of what I was doing. And everything like turned to butterflies right in the scene. Then here's another one where he just spreads out the fire. And this one, and this was in the movie kind of, but my idea for this, actually, he took in the sun and he took a black hole over here and he pulled fire in the black hole or something out to him. That's what I was imagining. Just really epic. He's just getting all these huge, bodies, heavenly bodies, and just, crushing it on Doctor Strange. And then I thought that was too big. Let me go a little smaller. And then I did this one. So this was the idea of all these pieces are from a moon or from the Halley's Comet or other comets in the vicinity or even further out. I guess in our solar system, there's the belt. You heard about the beltway past Pluto, I think, or something like that, and some of the comets. Yeah. So I was thinking he was teleporting that from there, or he was also destroying the moon of whatever
Titan.
planet they're on.
Yeah, Titan.
Yeah. So when you zoom in, you could see. I was actually gonna detail that more, but I said they're not gonna zoom this close in. It's like throwing it down to Doctor Strange, and Doctor Strange does this little magic teleportation thing. So this would go up and stop the rocks from coming down. And even these rocks. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, that was just amazing. I was like, that would have been cool. Yeah.
And 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 they actually used these shapes of these rocks of mine, that was so awesome to see. Of course, it's so much better than this because all the detail and the special effects. But like I was trying to give a variety of rocks and colors, and then when you look back here, these were the portals that they would come from different universes, not universes, but within the solar system. So that would open up, and they were coming out from there. But yeah, it's kind of hard to do everything in one image. But I explained what it is, and Ryan, when he presented it, they loved it. Yeah, so those are like the wins I get to gain confidence and stuff. But imagine that, like a totally, like, how do you say this, like at Marvel, Kevin Feige, they're really open with new ideas, so I go very far. I'm kind of known as the the idea guy and the guy who takes it too far. It's like, but but it's been working for me so far.
Yeah. You got to throw big ideas out there because there's, I mean, in comics, like the scale of the comics it's just large, right? These
epic, yeah.
These heroes and villains, like they're like supercharged, like as far as like what they can actually do in the comics. So yeah,
so
being able to bring it to scale in a movie, visually designing it, why not go big as some of the things you've seen before, and then they can take it and
they could knock it back if they needed to.
Right.
I found some other stuff. I could show you this other version, or is this the same version I showed you? This one was my first one, I think, and he drops down.
Yeah.
And then the wave. That was the wave at first.
Oh, wow.
That was one of the versions. So they like that one too. So they used all the angles that I did and kind of, and this is the one I think I showed you guys. Let me see. Let me just play it real quick. Yeah, this is the one where I showed, because they wanted a camera move. And I'm thinking, a camera move? How hard is that to animate? I can't animate. So yeah, but this is the first one I said, oh, that's cool. I found it finally. Could probably share it on my Instagram, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the wave I'm talking about. This really brings me back. I think this was done like 3-4 years ago. Then I did these kind of shots.
Ooh.
Like I was thinking a kaiju Godzilla type battle.
Oh, look at that. Yeah.
That is cool. I'm blown away by everything I'm seeing right now. I'm just in awe of like all this work that you do. It's just so cool.
This.
Yeah, this is awesome. Yeah, I think you were also going to share with us some exclusive WandaVision stuff that's never been seen before. So yeah, we're definitely we're like googly eye over here. So this is awesome.
This one. This is a keyframe I did.
All right, so you want to when do you want to cut it in, Carlo, as far as recording?
Maybe I should do this. He's flying over to these guys. Or sorry, let me just hold right here for you.
3, 2, 1, action.
So here it is.
Nice. Look at this. Oh my gosh. So that's Agatha back there, I take it. Yep.
Yes, Agatha with her what's this? Her powers.
Her sorcery powers.
Yeah, her sorcery powers back there. And Vision and original Vision.
Nice. Look at that.
That's really fun. And Wanda using
Wanda's
the
winding up, about to give him.
dark,
Nice.
the chaos magic or something. Or,
Yeah, chaos magic.
Wow.
Yeah, this is amazing. Wow.
it was fun, and this is like the reverse shot of this image.
Wow. This is talent right here, folks.
And that even looks like Elizabeth Olsen.
Right.
It
Yeah, we have
does.
Yes.
we have really good reference. That's what's nice at Marvel. They have like these set um, photos in
Mhm.
every angle, and this was the second part of this image, which you guys seen this before.
Mm.
But when you zoom into the ground, you can see,
Ah, yeah, you can see those two down there.
yeah, those two down there. Chaos magic is happening.
Yeah, look at that.
You zoom out.
Wow. Yeah, man. This is like detailed. That's detail right there. You got to focus on the fight, getting those two all sort of put together, and then down below you've got the chaos magic secondary scene to the fight. It's awesome.
Yeah, I think I could post this in the group, in the Marvel group thing.
Yeah, we would love for you to post it there. That would be great. You know, that's
Yeah,
exclusive art from WandaVision. Yeah, they would love it.
I'll do that. And I think that's all I could show with that. There's other stuff hopefully in the art book. We'll be able to show more stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking us through your art portfolio on your screen. So this has been great. Yeah, let's talk about some of the things that you've been working on. Your visual comic book well, not comic book, but your visual art book that you've designed. Let's talk
yeah,
about
you mean
that.
this book?
Yes, the Anthony Francisco exclusive.
Yeah, it's my first art book, and this is like one of my favorites to do Minotaur. This is like an old design I did when I used to work at NCSoft.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, maybe I shouldn't say that because this game never came out. It's like, no, this is just so here's my art book. Hopefully you guys could check it out. I've got like, one of my favorite characters I like to do is a Minotaur, because, mythology is always something that sparked my imagination. Clash of the Titans, that's one of those shows that really, wow. Have you guys seen that? Clash of the
Yes,
Titans?
yeah.
I have not.
I did,
With
yes.
Harryhausen. It's an old one, but yeah. So in this art book, I have these other movies I've worked on, like Seven Sun designs, and I love Filipino folklore, so I have these little scary monster designs. I actually have a tutorial for this one, a time lapse. I mean,
I have a
Nice.
question. Now that you showed that picture, and I'm very interested in this. Folklore interests me a lot. So in Filipino folklore, what does that character represent?
the one I showed you,
Yeah,
or just Filipino folklore characters in general.
the one that you showed us in the book.
Yeah, so that one it's my own design, but it's based on this thing called the Manananggal. So the Manananggal is a story of it's a type of vampire that at night she would, her body would get cut in half, and the upper body would grow bat wings, and it would fly around the bar or the village looking for pregnant women to eat the baby that's in their womb.
What?
So,
Oh wow!
yeah, so they would go into the top of the roofs, because it is like a nipa hut type roof. This long tongue would come down, And while the victim's asleep, the tongue would go into the belly button and suck the kid out like a straw through the tongue. So she'll wake up and they think they had a miscarriage, but really it was the mananggal that ate your baby.
Oh my gosh.
Yes, it's scary. So what I did was I took that idea, and to stop the mananggal, you have to look for the bottom half of her body and put salt on it so she can't combine again before the sun comes up. Because once she's able to go back to her body, sun comes up, she's fine. You know, she's and usually you could find the half of these bodies in like beside a banana tree. That's usually where you could find those. Thinking, man, and yeah, so with that design I did, um, I kind of thought of that creature, but instead of doing bat, I made the bottom half of her a spider instead. You know, because I was thinking psychologically, people are scared of spiders, and maybe just having a spider silhouette would, you know, would already instill kind of some kind of fear already. You know, so yeah, so that's what I did with that one. There's other characters called the Tikbalang and the Aswangs. The Tikbalang is I have this poster right here. This is actually it's a
Ooh.
half horse, half man type fairy in Filipino folklore. And this was actually I did this a while back, 2010, and it was meant for a book. Actually, I think it's even before 2010. I wanted to do a Filipino folklore book, kind of like you know Brian Froud's fairies book about fairies, and because these are like fairy creatures, you know, in the enchanted forest kind of deal. So yeah, so that's like these are tricksters. They would like lure you into the forest, and then you kind of like lose your way. And when you think you've lost your way, you have to take your shirt off, turn it inside out, wear it again, and walk backwards, and you find your way back into the path. You know, so,
That is, it's really neat learning about different, you know, cultures and diversity, and I enjoyed like different folklores from different regions, and that's really cool. Like I never heard of any of the things that you mentioned already, and now I'm so interested. I'm probably gonna start googling it.
yeah, it's really fun. You should watch. There's a new cartoon out called Trece on Netflix, and it kind of gives it's not so into how do you say it? It's like an introduction to Filipino folklore kind of.
Mhm.
It's more like Filipino folklore with X-Files kind of mix, you know.
Oh, nice. I'll definitely check it out. I've been watching a lot of Netflix anime here lately. So yeah, I'll
Yeah.
definitely check that out.
Yeah, so yeah, I just want to tell the audience too, if ever you guys want to check out the book, please visit my Gumroad. Hopefully, you know, the links down below or whatever.
Yeah, links are down below. We'll also post it in the Facebook group, and it'll be on YouTube and all the other streaming services that the 4GQ TV streams on. So that's awesome.
Yeah. I should ask you guys a question. When did you guys start this 4GQ TV? Is it four because there's four people here, but there's just two of you guys? Is it GQ because it's the magazine because you guys are
GQ
gentlemen? What? How did that come about?
So 4GQ TV came about back in 2013. Initially, it was four friends at the time, and I had coined an old nickname because as a kid I used to go to the arcades. So every time I went to the arcades, I always went with friends. So
Yeah.
it was usually like three or four of us. So originally it was called Four Guys with Quarters because of that. Because we always, you know, my dad always gave us quarters to play in the arcades, and that was
Yeah.
the original term. But then, you know, as I kind of got uh, doing the podcast a lot more and trying to develop more into a brand, I shortened everything to 4GQ TV, and now it could stand for great quality TV. You
That's
know,
awesome. I like that. I like that. That's so cool, 4G. Man, that's cool. So you played a lot of arcade games. That what was your like favorite one, you would say, that you played a
Oh,
lot?
this is so hard because, man, I lived when I was younger. I lived in the arcades, and I had oh, I had access to every arcade machine to play. I was very fortunate. My dad was friends with several different arcade owners. So
Yeah.
if I didn't want to be at the pizza place and just play one or two arcades, he would just drop me off at one of his friends' arcades, and I'd be there all day with
Yeah.
a bucket like this big of like coins for the machines. Um, so some of my favorites growing up, number one would be Pac-Man
Oh
1982.
yeah. That's
First game I ever played, it was at my dad's pizza place, and he put up a chair, not even a stool, but like an old wooden chair, and he picked
yeah.
me up, put me on the chair, popped the quarter in, and he actually let me play, and the sounds of Pac-Man like
Yeah.
resonated with me as a 3-year-old. And I never forgot the sounds and the moving screens and the magic of the colors and the pixels. And I fell in love with pixels. And then from there, I think, it was just on to like Galaga, I
Galaga, yeah, all those were
TIE,
good games, yeah.
TIE Fighter, APB, and and pinball was another thing that me and my dad were big on.
Yeah.
He was really competitive with pinball. He took it as something like a pride, and
Yeah.
he would always tell me, "Oh, you'll never beat me. I'm the pinball king." And one day, 2 quarters in on the Adams family table, I beat his high score. That was
That's
one of the proudest moments of my life. I beat his score
that's
because he said the trick with pinball was to take 1 quarter or 2 quarters and try to make that game last 4 to 6 hours. That
wow,
was his goal.
that's
Free
crazy.
plays and high scores, extra balls, multi balls, and he was good at it. And he taught
Yeah.
me. He taught me.
Nice.
Not good
Nice.
enough.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
surpassed him. I bet you that was a feel good moment for you, Carlo. That's
man,
awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, it was.
Arcade was the best place. I spent a lot of time in the arcade too. Uh, I played a lot of Street Fighter. That is
Yeah.
Yes.
the games. Street Fighter 2, and eventually Street Fighter 4, I got back into it. What's crazy is I should share this with you guys sometime. The video, I actually, I went to one of these like exhibition matches, and what's his name is in uh, Justin Wong, right? Remember him, Justin Wong? It's like the number 2 against like Street Fighter guy. I played with him and I almost beat him. Just one round. I almost beat him. He's so close, just this small. And I was a nobody. He was like the number 2 in the world. Man, if I beat him so close, I was just too overzealous, and I went in for an attack because I just need to tap him just one, and he did the ultra on me. Oh man.
Oh
Man, and I thought I was dead already, and we both stood up and go, I'm not dead yet. And then he grabbed me, and anyway, but
just flipped you over.
yeah. And then the video, because my friend was recording, we stopped, and he shook my hand, hey, good job, thank you. And when he turned around, he went like this. Whoa, I almost lost. Like, yes, you almost lost.
Close. That's awesome.
That is a cool story. Yeah, definitely.
That's fun. So if you need me to beat anybody,
that would be the person to beat.
Yeah. But anyway, sorry, I went in another tangent. I just sometimes talking.
Oh,
so
that's
much.
okay. I mean, we love video games.
Yeah.
But you know what? I really want to thank you, Anthony, for hanging out with us today. I mean, it's been fantastic. Seeing your artwork, I'm blown away. Hearing about what you do, hearing about how important of a role you actually play in these movies is mind blowing. To think that you can come from an art position and you can convince producers and directors to be like, oh, we need to add this into the, like the suitcase scene. And it's just so cool that those things happen.
Thank you for having me. I'm really happy I'm able to like talk about these stories. Most people don't know about it, but hanging out with you guys, you've actually had me remember some of the stuff I should be talking about more. But yeah, but sometimes there's just so much work to do. But hopefully the information gets out there. Again, guys, thank you so much, Carlo, Paris, for having me. And it's been an awesome experience here, and hopefully we'll do it again.
Yeah,
Definitely.
very excited to have you. Thank you for coming. It's been a blessing for you to take us down this artistic journey. We had no clue, but now we're a little bit more educated and know a lot more. And hopefully, all the fans out there who watch the videos will also be too. So this is great. Thank you.
Yes, thank you so much.
Where can we find you? Where can people find you if they want to look you up?
Well, you can find me on my Instagram, Anthony_Francisco_art. My YouTube channel is, so some of this information is there. My YouTube channel, which is just, I guess you could just search for Anthony Francisco artist or designer. And I have a Facebook fan page, which is linked to my Instagram. So whenever I post, it's there. I think also I will be teaching a class if anybody's interested in Nas Academy, and it's my own academy. It's Nas Academy, and I'm like Anthony Francisco Academy underneath the Nas banner. That's something exciting. I'm doing like a little mini master course on creature design. So if that's something anybody's interested in, it's like my first class online. I'm excited about it. Hopefully, if you guys check it out or even sign up, it's possible discount for the book. So I'm still trying to plan that out, but it's not quite released yet. But you guys heard it here first.
Nice.
Awesome.
Yeah, we'll definitely post that in the group. I'm sure people from the group who are up and coming artists would definitely have some interest. So yeah, we'll share it. And thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys again. And thank you everyone for watching.